Today I'm going to talk about air filtration for PRRS control. Currently, the Pipestone Veterinary Clinic, we have about 20 farms that we oversee that are filtered for PRRS right now. So, real quick background, PRRS first diagnosed in the late 1980s. Numerous interventions have been tried to control this disease, but I look back and we're not a whole lot farther than we was back in the early 90s as far as controlling this disease. It's still running rampant. 25 years later, it's still estimated to be costing the industry $600 million a year, and I think that's probably low. So we're leaving a lot of monies on the table. So do we need to start thinking out of the box? And everything that Dr. McKean talked about there, I think, is in the box. You've got to be doing everything in the box. And we start thinking out of the box, we start talking about air filtration. Got three main questions I want to answer, and hopefully these are questions that everybody else has. On air filtration, what is involved in filtering a farm for PRRS prevention? How do I decide if I should filter my farm? And what determines success of the filtration project? Air filtration, bottom line here, people, is we're going to filter all the incoming air into a farm. And when I say all, I mean everything. Okay? Every air, all the air that comes into a farm will be filtered. So if we look at here's a barn here. Here's a gestation barn that has cool cells on the outside. There was added what we call a filter bank on the outside. So this is what it looks like. Big picture. Here are the actual PRRS filters that are inside the cool banks, or the filter banks. So all the air that comes into these units are coming through filters like this. Okay? Here's an example of air that comes through the attic. So if you've got gestation barns or farrowing barns, the air comes in through the soffits up into the attic. It comes in. And we make these filter boxes up in the attic. So we make a box like this. Here's our PRRS filter right here. We put that in. Here's what it looks like as a finished product right there. So all the air comes in from the outside through filters down into the barn. Okay? In addition, you need to remember that we need to filter all the air that's coming in, okay? So what happens when your stage 3 fan is not running? And you got a wind from that direction. It's going to come right in that fan, right? Okay, so we got to stop that air. We want no air to get into the farm other than coming through the filters. So we have a term that I never even knew existed until probably the last 5 years, and it's called backdrafting. Right here. And essentially we're controlling all the air that has potential for getting back into the farm. Some things that we have done is we've added extra shutters onto fans. So there's maybe 2 sets of shutters here. Here you can see an old shutter. We have another shutter. So we've got 2 sets of shutters for air to get through. Another thing that's done very commonly is we put these chutes on fans here, okay? So that the inside of the farm there has a pressure. We monitor the static pressure, and if this fan, like right here, that fan's not running, the pressure from inside the farm pulls that chute against the fan, so there's no air that can get in there, okay? So as an example, here you can see a fan that's running. So it's open, there's air coming out. Both of these are running here. Here you can see a fan that's not running, that's shut off or isn't needed, and it's pulled back tight there. So you can see here, this actually here is the door for employees to come to the farm. You got to remember that we need to filter all that air too, okay? So they have to come in through the door. They literally have to stand in an entryway while we exchange all that air, and it goes outside. Right? Kind of like if you were going in or out of a submarine. That's an example of everything that needs to be done when we talk about filtering farms. So it's a major task. Okay? In addition to that, there's numerous protocol changes that you need to do. You know, as far as just getting people in and out of the farm, you got to remember that we're going to be taking weaned pigs out of that farm on 2, 3, 4 times a week. We have to get those pigs out without compromising the farm. We have to get rid of cull sows. We have to get rid of mortalities. We have to bring supplies into the farm. So all of these things, you have to have distinct protocols to get these things done. So you know, it's really the best way to explain it is these farms are like getting things into and out of the space shuttle. Okay, so put this farm up in space, and how are you going to get things in and out? And that's what it boils down to. So it's not an easy task. What's it cost? It's not cheap. Initial cost is dependent upon a few things. Type of the facility, how many barns are there? Are there 1 gestation barn, 2, 3 gestation barns? How big are the rooms? Do you have an on-site built developer? So certain facilities, it's more difficult to filter. Age of the facility, older facilities are more difficult to filter just because it's harder to seal up all the cracks. You know, you got to remember that if you have a crack around a window, it needs to be sealed up because you can't have air coming in. When we filter an existing farm, all the windows get caulked shut. There are no windows in the farm that can be open. So, and then what kind of current ventilation you have? Is it attic ventilation, cool cell, etc.? So when we look at the initial cost, ballpark $250 to $300 per sow. Okay, so 2,000 sow farm, you're looking at $500,000 to $600,000. Okay. Also, there's a routine maintenance cost that is ongoing after the initial project. You know, we do need to replace pre-filters, filter replacement, backdraft replacement. Those chutes wear out. There's labor involved in making sure everything goes good. What's the cost of that? Cost of that's probably $1 a pig, $1 per weaned pig. So ballpark numbers there, but that's about what it's going to cost. So how do you make the decision to filter a farm? How do you determine if you should filter your farm? Things we look at are determine the risk. Where is the farm located? How dense is the area with other pigs? How frequency have you had birth rates? Severity of the breaks? Pig flow out of the farm? And the economic impact. What is the breaks cost? And what's the cost of filtration? So determining risk, you need to look at pig density here. Actually, where you see these yellow stars here, those are sow farms. Okay. Obviously, if you're this sow farm here, there's an awful lot of density there. There's a lot of pigs around there, isn't there? This sow farm over here, there's no pigs around yet. Okay, so you need to determine your density or your risk. Okay. Here I got a little bit bigger picture there. Here we have one farm here, and each one of these circles here is 1 mile, and these are sites. Okay. This farm here, there's 21,000 pigs to impact this farm in a 5-mile radius. Okay, 21,000 there. I have 3 farms over in this area here, and they kind of run together here. If I add up all of these here, I have 134,000 pigs that could potentially impact these 3 sow farms. Big risk. Okay, here's just to kind of point it out, here's a 2,800 sow farm. This is one of our filtered farms right here. Looks like it sits out in the middle of the prairie there, doesn't it? You know, I mean, and you can see all the chutes on the farrowing there. There's 16,000 pig spaces within 2 miles of that farm. These are the pig spaces that are within 2 miles of the farm here. This There's one site here. This site right here, a good baseball player could throw a rock from that sow farm to these barns right here. The other thing to consider is these are within 2 miles of that sow farm. All 5 of these are 5 different sources. There's pigs coming from 5 different directions to these barns that are within that. So, pig density important. PRRS break frequency and severity. Need to look at how many PRRS breaks a farm has and how severe they are. Here's Farm A had a PRRS break in December 2008, 2009, January 2011. Every 12 to 11 months, or 12 to 13 months, we're breaking with PRRS. Farm B had a break in November and in January 2007, 2010. Frequency was 26 months, okay? When we looked at the cost of these breaks here, this farm here had lost about $1.8 million for these 3 PRRS breaks right here. This farm here, we had mild strain. It wasn't as bad. These 2 PRRS breaks total cost us $450,000. Which farms would you filter? This one? I'd say this one here, probably not. So pig flow, the other thing is, where's your pig flow out of that farm? Do you need to commingle pigs from that sow farm? Are they going to all in, all out sites? Are they going to multiple growing pigs on single sites? How important is it? We're PRRS negative 100% of the time. The other thing is, we need to be able to execute. We don't want to just filter a farm and not be able to execute. So do we have older buildings, multiple buildings? Do we have a firm commitment to our protocols? Make darn sure that we can do the protocols to get the job done. What determines success? Never breaking with PRRS again, 1 year without PRRS, 3 years without PRRS, 5 years without PRRS. What determines success? Everybody'd like to be up here, never breaking with PRRS again. I think that's possibly a dream. I don't think we're going to ever get to that level, but I do think we can improve drastically. This is kind of a busy chart here, but I wanted to put this up. This was the results of a filtration trial that was done up in southern Minnesota, southern Minnesota, northern Iowa. This started in 2008 and ran through 2012. This trial lasted 40 months. How many other research trials you know that last 40 months? Every one of these farms here is 24 filtered farms right here, okay? Day 0 was when these farms were filtered, okay, right here, okay? The first group down here at the bottom, we have 5 farms there, okay? They have been filtered for 40 months, okay, a little over 3 years, okay? Prior to filtration, every one of these diamonds is a PRRS break, okay? So this farm down here, for the 40 months prior to filtration, had 5 PRRS breaks. After they filtered, the next 40 months, they had 1 PRRS break. Is that successful? Okay. These next 5 farms here, they have not been filtered as long. They are 28 months, 28 months here. Okay. Here's my PRRS breaks before. This farm here had 5 PRRS breaks in 28 months before filtration. They haven't had any since then. Okay. These farms here are, these are 14-month farms here. They've been filtered for 14 months. Here you can see the PRRS breaks before, PRRS breaks after. Okay. If I own one farm in here, and I own this farm right here, farm 22, I had 1 PRRS break there, I filtered, I had another PRRS break. I'm probably doubting whether it paid for itself, right? If I'm this guy down here that had 4 PRRS breaks, or this person here that had 5 PRRS breaks, we're thinking that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So, we do have some success stories there.